Hi everyone, today I'll be going through the shapes of orbitals. Now the shapes of orbitals, they are not much shapes, so it can be fairly simple if you commit them to memory, but we always would like to stress that familiarization and understanding is always more important than memory work. Now, let's look at S orbital. The S orbital is spherical in shape. It's not sphere, it's spherical in shape. So we can see it's spherical. X, Y, Z along its spherical along its X, Y, Z axis. Very good. Then the p orbital. Let's look at the p orbital. The p orbital can be also fairly simple. Px orbital means it's along the x-axis. We draw it along the x-axis. Py orbital along the y-axis. Pz orbital along the z-axis. Now let's look at something more complicated. The d orbitals. D orbitals are butterfly in shape. Now, when we look at the dx orbitals, it is quite simple in the sense that we can visualize them. We can see that they are along the xy plane. Now, suppose this is the xy plane. You can see that they are along the xy plane. See, it's fairly simple, right? Now it's dyz orbital. Dyz orbital is a bit harder to visualize, but you can still visualize it. Oops, where is it? Yeah, shapes. Yeah, here. Right, let's go back here. That's something harder to visualize on the y-axis. And the x-axis, fairly simple to visualize. So one thing is very important. You need to know which way they intersect one another. So what do I mean by that? Dyz orbital. The first thing I know, dyz orbital, it must be between the z and y axis, so it cannot be cutting here. So this is one way to know, because if you already know that z and y axis there will be a shape here, right, then you can ultimately know that this is a shape here. Then by common sense or by your artistic tendency, you can know that the following shapes will be here. Although this one looks like, oh, it's along the z x-axis, right? It looks the same, right? The z x-axis along the same, right? So this one we cannot use this, but always know, okay, the top one, always identify the top one. This is my tip, always identify the top one. Same thing goes for xy axis. Xy axis will be below here. Then common sense tells you it's here. Then common sense tells you it'll be here. Common sense tells you it's here. See, a lot of it can be simplified by just identifying the zy axis is on here, or is it dxy, which will cause the orbital to belong here. Now let's look at something more complicated. The dx square y square axis. How I memorize this, right, is I always draw the along the x-axis here, on the y-axis here, then following here, tun. Okay. This one need to know lah. Need to know. You memorize this one. This one need to know, then you this one and this one. Okay. Okay. So along the positive x, negative y. Remember, positive x, negative y. Positive x, negative y. Why? Because we see x squared minus y squared. Positive x, negative y. Positive x, negative y. It makes sense even from this diagram, I'm telling you. A lot of it makes sense one. You just have to make sense of it. Okay, then look at the d squared. This one's super easy to know. This one so unique, right? It's super easy to know. Although it looks most complicated, but it's the easiest to memorize because it's very unique. That's all.